Get out of here. It's
Oh, God!
What's the boogeyman?
As a matter of fact, that was.
No more room in hell. The dead walk here.
In space, no one can hear you scream. What's up, Horror Fiends? It's your boy, Ricky Grimes, coming back at you with another episode of the Three Corners of Horror. I got my two brothers with me tonight. I am going to throw it to you first. JR, the boss of Jefe. What's going on, my brother? How are you?
Oh, man. Can't wait to talk about this one. Has one of the most talked about C-sections in horror movie history.
Long time coming, my brother. Long time coming. And Joe, the psychologist. You're happy as a motherfucker.
Of course. I mean, come on. We've been doing this for 2 years now.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised. Well, no, I think there was a reason. We got even a better reason to be able to finally do it. But, you know, I'm excited. I mean, this is a classic. So, and I know you guys, I know this one is not going to get, popped on like Children of the Corn did.
This week, we will be discussing the 1979 film Alien, directed by Ridley Scott, written by Dan O'Brien and Ronald Shusett. The film stars Sigourney Weaver as Ripley, Tom Skerritt as Dallas, and John Hurt as Kane. The crew of a commercial spacecraft encounters a deadly life form after investigating a mysterious transmission of unknown origin. 45 years. 1979, the year I was born. I ain't 45 yet, though. I still got a long way for that. But guys, this has been a long time coming, as we kind of addressed earlier. We really wanted to find a way to bring this film to the channel. We tried it with a couple other of our shows. It didn't quite pan out, but the 45 came up. Joe had the great idea, fuck it, let's just cover it on Three Corners. And hell yeah, let's go. Joe, 45 years, man. This movie, it still hold up, and what makes this film still so great in the annals of pop culture?
I mean, this is like yet another one that I'm older than this movie, but still, 45 years of, first of all, it's a sci-fi horror. So it's not like your slasher, that we're used to talking. So this is a little bit different than what we normally discuss. You got performances. I mean, I think every single person in this movie you can quote, you love each character. And as the years go by and you keep watching this movie more and more, you get invested with these characters. I mean, everyone loves Ripley. I mean, Sigourney Weaver killed it in the role. From what I had read, it was supposed to be a guy originally in the role, and then they switched it to Sigourney. But Veronica Cartwright had also gone out for the role of Ripley, and from what I read, got it. But then they went with Sigourney and then had her do Lambert. She at first was not happy with that decision, but then actually grew to love it because from what she was told by Ridley, you're actually representing us. What you're going to be experienced is what the viewers are going to experience. And we need to have one character who actually does that. When I've read that, because a couple of times she annoyed me, but then I'm like, you know what? I probably would have frozen still in fear. I mean, you have a better chance of fighting a human being. Like, if one of those Xenomorphs get in front of me, I might just give up if I don't have a weapon in my hands. I mean, there's like really no choice in the matter here.
Wasn't she the one that was like, let's just take the shuttle and get the hell out of here?
Yeah.
And that's
And
what
they
they
said
ended up
we don't
doing
have
anyway.
enough. Yeah, exactly. They went with her plan anyway. But like I said, the performances,
You know why though? I'm sorry, but they went because Ash was already out of the picture. So now they got three. Now they could fit him on the shuttle, right?
yeah. And they didn't know yet that Ash was android, or what do they call them back then? Was it android?
Robot. No, they said both. They said both.
Both.
At first Parker was like, he's an android, but then after the fact, he was like, "He's a robot. He's a damn robot."
Which that was another great scene too. But that's another thing is that the special effects still hold
They do.
even till now. Um, and with everything that we watch sci-fi, the spaceships are so pretty and like they have all these buttons and all that stuff. Whereas I feel like if we eventually do go out there, it's gonna kind of look like the Nostromo. It's not gonna be all pretty like you see, like the other ships. It's gonna be kind of like a barge in space,
It felt lived in, you know.
and that's where I mean honestly I watched it in full to for us to do this, but at work it happened they're playing it on sci-fi and I was flipping around, I'm like, I'm gonna put it on. That's the way this movie is. It doesn't matter which point you come across it. If you're scanning for something and you come across Alien, you're gonna stop and finish it from that point on. And that's where this movie still, like all these year works. You have a performance, special effects, sound. I mean, zero CGI.
And that's all you gotta say about that. My man JR. I know JR is a huge Alien fan. And not just the film, the franchise.
Yes.
So 45 years, man. Talk about it.
Well, think about this: 45 years in, the atmosphere and the environment still stand because this movie is lit very well. It's always gives you that dark, gloomy, like solitude type feel to it that you're
It's
just
timeless, yeah.
yes, and
One
it's
thing,
just
JR, one thing I'm before I don't mean to cut you off. 1979. When you watch this film, mind you, Dawn of the Dead came out in 78. This film doesn't look like a 70s film. This could take place in any era. Mind you, it was like 2034 around there, the actual year within the film, which is weird because, this
Coming up.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's one thing I wanted to touch upon where even with their clothing, it didn't feel like old fashioned or nothing. So yeah, bring it up, JR. Good point. Good
no.
point.
And remember one more thing too: is this film caused the great John Carpenter to be like, you know what? I don't want to put out the thing after Alien came out because Alien did so well that he was so worried that thing was going to get bashed on because
Which
of
it
the Alien,
did. Which
which
it
it
did.
did because the Alien French, the Alien movie came on, and the Alien movie. I mean, think about it. They created this thing basically through H.R. Geiger's artwork stuff. I mean, and people
Yes.
forget that H.R. Geiger
Geiger.
create this film because his artwork was compelling. I mean, one of the great scenes in this film is when they finally find the alien ship, and even to this day, when you go back and watch Prometheus, you like, so that's the fucker that was sitting on the chair the whole time.
What they call them, the engineers?
Engineers,
Awesome.
engineers. But yeah, I mean, even that scene, you still watch that scene, even after watching Prometheus, it's still like, wow, this is freaking awesome how they intertwine these films.
It
But yeah,
still looks good. This movie
it
could
does.
this movie could have come out yesterday, bro.
I know, and I don't want to interrupt you too, JR. But during when they're going to the ship, it looked found footage.
Yeah, it did.
So I loved the how we went to a film to kind of a found footage film for a segment there, and I'm like sitting going, I bet you JR really
Yeah, it
appreciates
gave it
this
that
one section.
that chaotic
Yeah,
feel to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
like instead of it being you're watching them from the camera's angle, you're getting a found footage view of them finding the ship. So I didn't notice that myself until just recently, and I was just like, wow, that's pretty cool. We
Yeah,
got found footage in the here.
which helped make the Kane's interaction with the facehugger even more special because it gave you that extra jump. But yeah, I mean, this film is just still beautifully done. It's still one of the well, we'll mention later, one of the best sci-fi horror films. And yeah, the acting. I mean, Lambert. I'm sorry, she killed it too. She was awesome in this film. I mean, she was the one that really showed this fuck, we're screwed emotions
Right.
where everybody was trying to stay strong. And she's like, I'm sorry, if I was Lambert, I'd be like, yo, Ripley, y'all go get the cancers. I'll be right back. I'm taking off on that ship because it was my idea. I'm out. But yeah, I mean, everything about this film is just so well done that, like Joe said, you could run into it. I'm gonna sit here and watch it. I mean, the acting's good. It has some comedy in it, and it's not like in your face comedy. It's just a subtle comedy of like when the
With
acid drips
Jones,
down. Yeah, well, not when he takes the pencil and
he
stops
gives
the
it
acid,
back
like,
to
gives it
him.
back to him. I mean, something like that. He's just like looking at it. I mean, little subtle comedy. This movie was just so well done, and yeah, I mean, I love watching this film.
See,
I could watch it as many times as possible. I will not get bored.
as JR said, there's comedy because when you have Ripley trying to talk to Parker and Brett, about the mission, and they're like, "What?" Because the steam's going on, and then when she walks away, he just turns it off. And it's like they were such assholes
They
to
just
her.
want to get paid. They want to make more
Oh,
money.
yeah, they
Actually,
all they
They
wanted was
do.
their bonus and their OT. That's all they
But
wanted.
they were loving how frustrated Ripley kept getting, trying to talk to him, and things like shh. They're like,
those two characters represented like the blue collar folks, because they were
yes,
the ones fixing everything.
Yeah.
They had the hardest job, I think, on the entire crew
I
because
said the
they did all the
same
grunt work.
thing.
Yeah.
I said the same thing when I was just watching it. I'm like, this, the other ones just fly it. Like
Yeah.
these are the two who have to fix it, and they're on the bottom. Like
Yeah.
like you said, they're the grunts, but it's not gonna go anywhere without them.
This film here, to me, 45 years. I just saw it recently, and like I mentioned earlier, it holds up. It doesn't feel old or anything like that. This film is made with care and precision, and it really took serious the fact that I didn't want to add anything into this film that would date it immediately, and that's the one thing you don't want. And that's why a movie like this is so timeless. I give it a lot of credit for that. And you mentioned the xenomorphs. We gotta also give it not just to Geiger but Stan Winston for bringing that to life. Like, holy shit, man! The special effects in this movie, the xenomorphs, next to the Predator design, it's probably one of the most iconic designs that anyone can look at it. And I'm talking about non-horror fans could see it and they know what it is. I put it up there, man. The alien design is freaking awesome. And I love how it started with like this little face hugger. Then it transitioned to this little tiny little alien that ran off. I'm sorry, because of Spaceballs, I would
I
always
know.
laugh at that.
in my head, I was just doing that. Hello, my darling. I'm sorry.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my good.
I was
But
just thinking that.
But then it goes into like the size of a man, just like
An
this.
actual 7-foot guy went into the suit.
Yes, and it was a man in a suit. Thank you, JR. That's a good shout. It was an actual actor in a suit, like you mentioned before, my brother. No CGI, practical, and it works. This movie just works on every level.
Another thing about those xenomorphs is that when they came up with the design, part of the reason they wanted to make the blood acid is because it quickly got rid of them being able to just shoot it to kill it. Like they had to come up with other ways because shooting this thing the acid's going to get everywhere.
Yeah.
It's going to destroy the ship because they saw when they spliced that one piece. So them thinking of making, the thing is already scary as fuck, but you can't shoot it because it's basically going to melt a hole in your ship and you're done for. It just added the whole element of the fear for the xenomorphs.
Brother, think about that for a second. And I like, in my rewatch, I caught this too. I like how Ian Holmes' character Ash caught it. He caught that. He called it the ultimate survivalist, essentially.
Yep.
They somehow found a way to transfer their blood. Well, I don't think they transferred it. It just they used acid for blood. I don't know how that works. I'm not a scientist, but they figured out a way through evolution somehow to have their blood be this acidic substance that just melts through everything, bro. That is genius, man. That's another reason why the alien is such a hard it's such a hard like enemy to fight back against, because what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
And Ripley, again, we'll get to this in later, but I mean, she was always thinking ahead, especially towards the climax of the film, and it just makes that villain that much more memorable, because not only is it intelligent, but biologically it's fucking superior, bro. It's a fucking living weapon. You know what I mean? But I mentioned Ash earlier. This is a character that kind of set this entire story in motion. Is he a villain? Is he not a villain? Is the question. Let's talk about this, because Ian Holm No, GR, Lord of the Rings. I mean, come on. I know that's your best non-horror franchise. I call your interview with Doug. I know you recognize them
Oh yeah.
immediately. So, Ash, villain or no villain? Was he the cause of all this? I mean, obviously he was a cause, but was he the cause?
I mean, I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say he wasn't a villain because he was working for the corporation. It was Mother who told him, "Do whatever you need to do to bring a specimen back." And one of the greatest lines in the film by Ash was when he said, "I admire it."
Oh,
And this is a freaking robot who actually had a human emotional word. I admire it. He did not want to see it destroyed, so his job was to make sure that it stayed alive. So I wouldn't say he was the villain because later on in the franchise we find out who the real villains are. But yeah, I mean, every time I see it now, I'm like, freaking Bilbo Baggins is such an asshole in this film. But he's really not though because he's just doing his program. But I mean, his characters. Ian Holm is one of the greatest, most underrated actors in everything he does. I mean, the guy is just
he's no longer with us, right?
right. He passed
Yeah, he
away.
did.
Rest
Yeah.
in peace,
Yeah. A
Bilbo
lot of
Baggins.
actors in this film actually are no longer
Yes.
here.
No, but his character was. I mean, here you have something that's supposed to not protect and just its only job is a science officer, and it goes freaking haywire. I mean, the scene with him and Ripley, which I'll let Joe talk about. 'Cause I don't know Joe can't see to talk about that scene, but that was such an amazing scene, and the fact that in the aftermath they still needed him after this story, they still needed Ash, and that whole monologue with him just talking about it, talking about everything. It was just such a tremendous character, which I think one of the hardest things about Aliens was you had the great Lance Erickson try to portray the character Bishop, but everybody still remembered Ash.
I think not
Bishop
to
was a good
not
character.
to diverge. Yeah, yeah. I don't want to.
Oh,
I'm not disparaging what you're saying, but I get what I get
yeah,
what you mean. Uh, Bishop came in, and I think that was the reason why they added Bishop to that crew
yes.
because you're already seeing what Ash did, and now you're like worried. Oh my god, wait a minute! It makes you think: is he gonna do the same shit? Is he gonna be good? Is he gonna be bad? So that
And
was a good
remember
contrast.
too, the scene where you thought Bishop was going to be bad at Aliens is reminiscent to the scene where Ash
Yeah,
is looking at basically the face hugger, dissecting it,
yeah,
and Ripley's talking to him.
yeah.
Fast forward, you have Bishop doing the same thing, but a different character talking to him with the
Mhm.
same look, where he just looks at him and just goes back to work. But yeah, Ash is freaking amazing.
Yeah, yeah. You know what was great about Ash and Ripley's relationship, or their antagonist. Very subtle from the very beginning. From the moment they got on scene together, the very first shot, you could already tell there was a little bit animosity there, and they were already teasing that there was going to be something brewing, and their trust was never there from the beginning. My man Joe, I can see your lips moving, bro. And, bro, so he mentioned, all right, let's see with Ellen and Ash, right? Get into that a bit as after you talk about if he was a villain or not. But do you agree with that? The subtle little hints that they threw in there to
Oh, they
jumpstart
did.
that?
They did, but because Bishop had made a comment of how inferior the Ash
The
robot
previous
was
models were, yeah.
because of some issues that they had.
Yeah.
Now, Bishop was following orders. However, once he admired it, I feel that because these robots were also are able, like basically, they're supposed to be human-like. So while his mission was what the company wanted, it became a little personal for him. The scene where Ripley sees what basically the orders were from the company that they're all expendable, and then Ash pops up behind her. Ash did it in a way that he gloated in that moment. He was like, yeah, bitch, you're gonna die. So that's where I'm saying he's the villain because he hit like whatever his personality was, he got personally invested in this, and he himself was now going to do anything at all costs. I'm gonna say though, I'm if you only seen in this movie I'm not the biggest fan of is when he tries to suffocate her with the magazine. I
That
don't
shit
know
wasn't even all the way in
why.
her mouth, bro.
I know that I don't, and I don't know why that is probably in this whole entire movie. And how long is this movie? JR is our runtime person.
Honestly, this is one of those movies I
No,
don't even look at the
it's
runtime.
almost it's just under 2 hours.
Yeah.
Right. So you have a 2 hour movie where there's that one scene, and it's just that I don't know why. Even to all these years, it just bothers me. Rolling it up, and as you said, it's not even like choking her, but
Come
regardless.
on, if you think about it, if somebody rolls up a magazine and stuffs it in your mouth,
Well, I don't want to
but
try, but
but
I'm
the
pretty
problem
sure.
is the way the film was shot. It was never inside of her mouth. It was
Right.
always just on top, unless they're trying to portray Ripley fighting it, but. And then my boy Parker comes along and he just fucking gives him he grips his fucking his pack. He's like,
He
ah!
gave a purple nurple, man.
Well, isn't that a wrestling move? Wasn't that somebody's wrestling move back in the day?
What the fuck's a purple nurple? Hold on, you showing it?
Purple nurple?
Nah, I never heard of that.
A nipple twist.
Nipple twist,
Oh
man.
no, that wasn't his nipple. That was the entire right here. His whole
I'm
pack.
just trying to find where it's at, though, man.
Well, it's funny because when he had done that, I'm like, oh no, it's the claw. It's
The
like
funny part about it, when he did it to Parker and Parker comes back, he grabs Lambert and just shoves her out the way and goes right back to attacking fucking ass. I mean, what? I'm like, Parker, why you fucking throwing Lambert around? That's not what did she do to deserve that?
But yeah, I like for me, just after more
Next time I
watching
see
it,
you, Joe, when you sleep and you pass out after we smoke and drink all night, I'm gonna shove a fucking magazine into your mouth, bro.
kick
I'm
your
gonna have
ass.
Adam film it too.
I will kick your ass.
The way Ripley found out about it was when she was talking to Mother, and Mother told her
Well,
that,
because she bypassed
that it was the company wanted
Yes.
specimen back.
Yeah. See, I think I lean on GR's side on this one. I don't. Again, he said, especially in the next chapter in the film franchise, he malfunctioned. Right? He's an android. He's a robot. He malfunctioned. So he has orders. It's not like Ash, the character himself, plotted this entire thing.
No,
He was probably created and programmed from the start to get this going. So yes, he was like the antagonist, but I don't think he was like the villain, like JR mentioned. It's the company. But
well, yeah,
Joe, I don't want to. But Joe, everything you said though, I'm not debating it. You're right.
he didn't start out as the villain.
No,
So,
exactly. He malfunctioned, but then you mentioned he started becoming like he admired the alien. He was very condescending. You know what I mean? So yes, he showed a lot of human emotions, especially before he was terminated permanently. So yes, I get that, Joe. So I'm not, you're right.
No,
You're absolutely right. But I think in origin though, especially within the film's narrative, I don't think he was never meant to be the villain. The company, especially when Paul Reiser in the next film, now that motherfucker was a villain. So that's why it's hard to put him in the same category. But I don't. If you say he's a villain, I'm not gonna say no, Joe, you're wrong. Or if Jared tells me he's a villain, I'm not gonna say no, you're wrong. I like that because people see it in their own way, and both ways make a lot of sense. I fall more in the camp where he's not the villain, but I'm not gonna be like, no, you're wrong. You know what I'm saying? So I like that. That's brilliant writing, and it's not one dimensional whatsoever, and I love it. When I was watching this, I don't know what it was, but it felt like a slasher film in space.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I was like, whoa. Dan O'Brien wrote it, Return of the Living Dead, obviously, but he worked with John Carpenter on John Carpenter's, I think, one of his earliest films, Dark Star, which
Yep.
was also a movie in space. You know what I mean? So it's crazy going from that to this, because this film is like, holy shit. I mean, it's so complex, right? But at the same time, it's not, because there's not much plot in here. You got a bunch of people going out. They were commercial, not an airliner, but they were spacecraft. They get a false SOS. They bring an alien life force or life form onto their ship, but it was all designed that way by the company. So there's a lot of similarities in that part. And really, Scott, you got to give him credit too. Blade Runner. I mean, this guy's a great director in his own right. Lately, I haven't been really feeling his work as much, but you got to give him his flowers too. But the one thing I've been trying to get at here, this film is loved by so many. Again, it is timeless. You know, the visuals alone is incredible in this film. Sci-fi horror, like Joe, I'm gonna throw it to you. Is it one of the best sci-fi horror films? I mean, how many sci-fi films are out there that are, you know, the subgenre is horror that are that beloved? I know there's a lot out there, but beloved like this one is. Where do you put it?
That,
What's
that's the whole thing. It's kind of a point. I mean, I know you both love Aliens, especially JR. A little bit on the difference, I found that Aliens was a little bit more action as opposed to like what Rick said. This was a little bit more.
He said a little bit more action.
A lot more action.
This is
a lot more action.
Alien to me is survival horror.
It is.
This
That's what I'm saying.
Alien is
that's what I'm
action.
gonna say. The other one's action, whereas this one is, you said it's a slasher, and it's a slasher in space. You're stuck on a ship, similar to like the people that were stuck on the Demeter. And I think we brought up Alien when we discussed Demeter.
Yes, it had a lot of similarities.
Being put in that claustrophobic, you've got nowhere to fucking go,
dude. And the fact that they know this alien is on their ship, just like in Demeter, they knew Dracula was on their ship, but yet they're trying to find out how to. I mean, I don't know which crew was dumber, but
but I mean, it's just it. You're right. There aren't too many that you can think of as far as sci-fi horror. Life Force.
There's not much.
I know that you haven't seen it. Definitely check out Life Force. You're gonna love it.
Isn't that a Toby Hooper movie?
But it's not Jason. It's not Michael. But you still have individuals, trying to survive a killer stuck in a claustrophobic situation.
Thank you for bringing claustrophobia up.
It is. I mean, there's just so many great claustrophobic scenes in here. Ripley getting into the outfit, even though she was going to put the oxygen on, and she's holding her breath during that time. When she's trying to get to the escape ship and she comes to the xenomorph and she holds her breath, and just the way that she puts her guts along the wall to try to get away from him. Like you're holding your breath just like she is at that moment.
When I recently rewatched this film, it was the first time watching Alien from beginning to end after watching Prometheus. So when I watched them, when I watched like Lambert, Kane, and Dallas go and investigate that SOS signal, and I saw the engineer sitting in that chair, and it's funny because in this movie you forget it's in the future, so they know aliens exist. So when they saw the engineer, they're like, oh, some kind of alien. Oh, just like that? All right, I guess that doesn't... They weren't shocked. It was like nothing to them, But it's interesting because watching Prometheus first, then this, I want to do it. I want to go back and watch Prometheus, Alien, and Aliens. Maybe Alien 3, because that wasn't that bad. It had a bad rap.
Alien. I like Alien 3.
Yeah. It's a film that I won't trash, put it that way. Those 4 films, I would like to go back and one day just boom, 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 boom.
Well, this is the hardest debate though, because Alien was such a great film, and Aliens 2 is one of the best sequels ever to a film. And it's there would be no wrong answer if somebody was to say, I prefer Aliens over Alien, because this those 2 films are so good that you can't. There's no argument to if somebody says I choose this one over the other,
and they could be no different from each other.
No.
Oh yeah, they're stark contrasts of each other.
Brilliant.
Yeah, and they're so great characters. You have one where you're stuck on this big freight. I mean, think about it. There's only 5 people on this freight.
7.
So who's the 7?
Crew of 7.
It's Dallas, Kane,
Lambert, Parker, Brett, Ash.
Okay, yeah, right. 7.
8 technically with Jones. Jonesy.
Okay.
Jones.
5, 4, 3, 2. Yeah, think about it. You're on a crew with 7.5. Little kitty. Which for nothing, Ripley could have gotten off the freaking ship a lot quicker, but no, let me go find the cat.
Hey man, the cat survives. I'm all for
I
it,
knew
bro.
Rick was all for the cat surviving.
Listen, Ridley Scott could have been like, nah,
Yeah,
let's
fuck the
kill the
cat.
cat. That's for shock value. People like, no, 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 no. We're gonna save the cat. Thank you, Ridley, Dan, whoever put the hammer down on that one. Thank you.
No, but it's a great film, and the thing is, if you actually go watch the director's cut is really good as
Oh, I've
well.
never seen that one
Yeah,
actually.
to watch the director's cut. I will not give, but you find out a little bit more information. There's a little bit more scenes in the director's cut. There's one scene in particular that's very like you feel for Ripley because yeah, I won't say, but definitely watch the director's cut. It's worth a watch. If I was to rank this, I mean, Alien and Aliens can flip the 1-2 spot easily. I mean, I would probably put definitely Life Force up there, Event Horizon,
Mm,
Pandorum, and
Pandora. Yeah,
Prometheus.
those are
For me,
yeah.
those are the top as far as the sci-fi horror
Pandorum's
films.
underrated, man.
Very
Totally
underrated,
underrated.
very good twists.
Event
So is
Horizon
Event
too.
Horizon.
Yes,
Event
yes,
Horizon.
yes.
By the way, Event Horizon, I would say, aside from Alien and Aliens, is another one. If I'm flipping through and I come across Event Horizon, I'm gonna fucking watch it.
JR, you covered that, right?
Yes,
Mhm.
Event
Yeah, you
Horizon
did,
is
right? You
very
did.
good. It actually has a very massive cult following. People
It
love
does.
Event Horizon. Ripley was by the book, company, company, company. You have to listen to everything the company said to become an anti-corporate hero.
Hey,
Yeah.
if they would have listened to her from the beginning,
Hmm.
I mean, obviously Dallas
Don't
was
bring them
like,
on.
Dallas was saying, no, 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 open the door. Because let me say, Dallas, he was a horrible captain.
Oh, he
I'm
was a horrible
sorry.
boss.
But
Horrible.
he
He
admitted
wanted
that.
to be anywhere but there. He would look defeated. He looked tired. He just didn't care.
But
He
he
did.
kind of he did. He just said, "I just fly the ship."
Yeah.
Like
Well,
to
that's
him,
his
my job
choice.
is only to fly the ship.
I mean, come on,
This is
brother.
shit I'm not
And,
really supposed to be
and think
involved with.
about how quickly he gave up leadership when he said, the minute this becomes a scientific
Yep,
expedition,
handed it
Ash
over.
is in charge, so is the company. But yeah, definitely great film.
JR, now that I got you, let's close it out. Rate it. Give us your final thoughts. I know this. I mean, this film holds a lot of weight. I understand. So let's hear it, brother.
Yeah, I think this film is in my top 10 horror films. So I would give this one a 5 because this film, you could, there's not much to nitpick at all in this film. Great cast. Like I said, the cinematography, the lighting, the environment, the isolation, the xenomorph, everything in this film is top tier. I
Let's
mean,
introduce all the classic mythos, the
yeah,
face huggers, the eggs, the xenomorphs. You name it,
yeah.
bro. The acid. Like this movie was.
And the same ship that's in the sequel. They go to the same freaking planet, knowing there was issues with the planet. We'll go. There's nothing over there. But yeah, I mean, this is a great franchise. I mean, Alien 1, great film. 2, amazing. 3, the only knock I would give 3 is why the fuck did you kill Newt?
And that's why it got trashed for them killing Newt
That was the
and
biggest mistake they did because they could
whatever
have
his name was.
continued with the Newt story. Because in the comics, Newt has a massive storyline that continues. So the fact that they killed her off too quickly, and then the 4 one, man, Prometheus, great film. Alien Covenant, we'll see how the new one comes out, the series. But yeah, I mean, definitely a 5.
Listen, Aliens versus Predator to me was the lowest point. You said 5, right?
5.
Yeah.
Joe the psychologist. What up, my brother? Let's go.
I mean, I'm gonna get my score off the bat real quick, and then I'll go into my closing thoughts. Obviously, it's a fucking 5. I mean, I don't think anybody would even rate this movie anything lower than that. Um, it's I mean, we're all raving about it. Like I said, the only bad part I talked about, and you kind of agreed, is that magazine had such a little small thing to nitpick in a movie that you can overlook that. Um, JR said it. Performances across the board,
Oh
every
my
single
God.
character. I
Tom
think
Skerritt. He was the main character, and when he got off that early, because
that's how you
Ripley
knew.
back then Ripley wasn't supposed. No one knew who she was. And mind you,
No.
correct me, guys, both of you, please. I'm sorry to cut you off, Joe, but you would appreciate this one. Before Ellen Ripley, which other female was portrayed in such a strong manner as Ellen Ripley? I'm talking about forget Black Christmas and stuff. I'm talking about. I'm talking no Final Girls, but a character that was like strong, not just a final girl that survives, Ripley was a strong female protagonist, bro. You didn't get that much, especially in the 70s. Or come on. I mean, I'm not
When
'Cause
they-
expecting an
I
answer right
can't.
now,
Well,
but
here's the thing. Well, no,
What
here's
was
the thing.
Princess
I
Leia?
huh?
When did
Princess
Princess
Leia,
Leia come out?
but
No. Star
that's a
Wars
little
was
bit. That's
listen.
a
Star Wars
That's
was 70 what 4 or 5? When
Yeah.
when Star Wars came out? 76,
Uh,
right? Wait, what year was? All right, anyway,
I think it was 76.
mind you, Leia in that movie was
Was
a
also
damsel
not
in distress.
distress.
Okay, she didn't become Leia like the strong warrior until the 80s.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Ellen
honestly,
Ripley, she's it, bro. I mean, who
because
else?
before this, if you go back this many years, the only in this genre that I can think about is Mia Farrow's Rosemary, which she
Again, I don't mean like
wasn't.
a woman that just survives the film. I mean a
No,
woman
I know what
that's.
that's what I'm trying to say. Like I'm trying to
I mean,
think.
she was second in
um,
command to Dallas, man.
her having to come up with a fucking idea right now on how the fuck am I gonna get out of here, and then just how she does it, she gets into that the thing, and she's like, you literally, when you're watching it, you can find yourself gasping, holding your breath the same way that she's holding her breath during that point. And it's just, that's where it made Ripley a great character, because like Rick said, she followed the book, but her following the book may have where she came up with a way to get the fuck out of here, and come up with getting into the spacesuit, shooting him with a harpoon, getting him out of the hatch and getting out of the ship.
As far as you mentioned it, trying to get into the thrusters, even to the very end, it still made the alien intelligent. And the fact that the alien found Jonesy in this box right by the shuttle and knew, okay, I know where she's going. So he didn't touch the cat, or she, whatever
Nope.
the alien gender is, but the alien itself, it didn't touch the cat, left it, and hid inside that shuttle.
Took a nap.
Exactly. And what I liked about it didn't hide so it could just pop out and kill Ripley. No, it hid to get back to Earth.
Yeah.
And then repop. Oh my God. It's such
Well,
a
it
great.
hid in plain sight.
Yes.
That's
it
the
did.
other part. The
And
thing
even when
hid,
Ripley discovered it, it didn't try and get her. It was.
No.
Did it even see her? It was just like chilling. Like.
yeah. So she turned on the steam on him to get him to move. That's how she finally started to get him going.
All right. I prefer Aliens, not because it's an action movie, but because I think, bro, I mean, GR, no, the characters in that fucking movie, the memorable lines, the action, not just one aliens, and you got James Horner's soundtrack. Mind you, Jerry Goldsmith, he did the soundtrack for this film, which is more subdued, and it's more like you mentioned, claustrophobia, and it's more like laid back. So, I just love Aliens. It's the greatest sequel, probably. Well, Empire Strikes Back, it's debatable, but Aliens, bro, I mean, there's no fault in that. One thing I did not like in Alien was Parker and Lambert's demise was so underwhelming, especially watching it back. I'm like, wait a minute, did he even show them get killed?
Watch the director's cut. Watch the director's
Okay,
cut.
good shout. But from what I saw, I will watch that. I didn't know there was one.
Yeah.
But these are two characters that made it all the way to the end, and they got killed practically off screen. I mean, they show the mouth going in. I don't know. They showed it ripping into Parker real quick. But then Ripley comes in and Parker, and they don't even show Lambert. All you see is their feet hanging. Like, what the fuck? And that's rewatching it. So I'm like, oh, I don't know about that. That kind of it took me out. They don't gotta show gore, but there's not that many victims in this movie. And I like how they handle Harry D. Stan's character, Brett. I love that scene when the water's hitting him in his face and his hat. That sound design. Holy shit. That was fucking immaculate. That was great, But again, the other two characters were like, the way you feel about the magazine is how I feel about that, but I feel much stronger because that's going towards the climax, and these are characters that made it towards the end, and both of them, not just one, but both of them killed off screen technically. Oh man, that was like, fuck, that just took the wind out of my sails for a second. I'm sorry, that's just my personal preference. It's a classic. I'm not taking away from that. I mean, I would give this a 4.75 because Aliens is my 5. Because there's nothing in that film ever took me out. That's how fucking James Cameron, he's the master of the sequel, isn't he? He's so fucking great. But yeah, we're not talking about Aliens. We're talking about Aliens. So, it's a great film. It ages like a fine wine. I think it gets better and better as it goes along, man. I mean, I don't really, other than those 2 underwhelming deaths, there is nothing else in this film that's really bad. You know, the infamous scene, which we didn't even touch upon, with Kane's character, where the alien just bursts out of his chest. The fact that it was like parodied upon parodied from I mean, how many times was that parodied? You know what I'm saying? To the point where it's not even scary no more. It's kind of like when Michael Jackson's Thriller came out and just killed the zombie genre for a minute, because they made zombies fun. You know what I'm saying? And not scary. So when the chest burster came out, it's not scary to me no more because of that. I'm not faulting the film for that. But
it's not, because when at the beginning you heard a song, I think Jared was starting to mention it. One of you guys mentioned it. In my head, I started singing the song.
Yeah, it's Spaceballs.
It's an unfortunate part of where it got they used it to make a comedy. But again, we're also going to show the influence the movie had.
This movie's timeless, man. It's so fucking good and very influential. That's the key word. Yeah. This movie influenced so many other films that came after. Because before this, what film was like this on this level? This film is excellent. If you want to, if you guys want to strip me up, I'll give it a 5. I have no problem doing that because this film deserves it. All right, guys. Anything else you want to add to this one?
Definitely watch the film.
Watch it. Alien.
Watch
fucking classic, man. Classic film. And mind you, it's almost 2 hours. And this is a slow burn. And guess what? It does not feel like it because you're so engrossed because of the imagery, the scenery, the sound, and the acting. Everything is like this perfect storm of immaculate filmmaking. So with that being said, I'm Ricky Grimes, JR, and Joe the Psychologist. Be good, be healthy, stay safe, feel good about yourselves, take care of that mental health, people, and most of all, stay gay.
Punch it, Bishop.